Hello, Internet! Shalthis here, and it's time for another episode of the Engram here on iTunes, on gkick.net, and of course on YouTube. Everybody. So, it is October 17th. Should be October 17th by the time I get this online. Might be a little late in the day, but that's okay. Latest news about Destiny. Basically, big hotfix just dropped, and there's one element in particular that I wanted to talk about, mainly just to kind of explain a little bit more about what I think it means. And it's something very small, but it has pretty big ramifications. But before we get into that, just to talk a little bit about some of the changes that came in the hotfix, which was applied about 3 days ago. One of the biggest and most controversial changes actually came to the legendary weapon, the exotic weapon, the Vex Mythoclast. So this is a exotic weapon which had its base damage, according to the patch notes, it had its base damage. God, words are hard. Its base damage was reduced by 34%. Now, some people tested it and felt like there was a little bit more, but we really don't know what the base damage of these weapons is and how that exactly is calculated. So we can't say for sure if that's inaccurate, but it was a very overpowered weapon to begin with, so it's not surprising that this would be changed. Additionally, a big change that happened is the removal of another loot cave scenario in the Rocket Yard on the Cosmodrome on Earth. The Fallen respawn have been kind of reduced there, so not quite the loot cave scenario that it used to be. So there's a lot of other little changes too. Some reductions in the base damage to auto rifles just by 2%. I haven't really noticed it too badly. They reduced the precision damage multiplier by 0.25%, or well, 0.25. Basically, the multiplier was 1.5. Now it's 1.25. So a little bit reduction there. And the stability was also decreased a bit to, I guess, just make them a little less powerful, especially in PvP. Auto rifles have always been a big problem in PvP, kind of the standard. I use an auto rifle. I used to use a pulse rifle a lot. Like, that was the weapon that I leveled with and ran with and used all throughout. And I started using that in PvP, but it was just, I was just getting smoked regularly by using a pulse rifle. And I think it's just because of the fire rate. Having those 3 shots so quickly is nice, but the auto rifle just feels so much better for me, in my opinion. I'm big on range. I'm big on trying to apply bursts of damage whenever I can, and not really relying so much on immediate precision like you really kind of need to do with, say, a hand cannon or something like that. But that's what I prefer, is the auto rifle. And that had a little bit of nerfing done. Same thing with the scout rifle. Base damage was decreased on that by about 6%. But the damage basically the damage on the scout rifles against aliens, or PvE, was increased. So it's less powerful in PvP, but more powerful in PvE, which is fine. Who cares how powerful stuff is in PvE? And that's even better, for running strikes and raids and things like that. So yeah, a bunch of other changes. I'm not going to go through everything. I'm just kind of breezing through the hotfix notes right now, but you can pull them up really anywhere you want. I access this stuff, all of the news updates, right through the Destiny Companion app. I don't know if any of you have seen this. I'm going to try and show this on YouTube a little bit. There's mine, and that's me, my Warlock right there, Shalthis. I don't know how good of a shot that was, but it's the official Destiny app, the Destiny Companion app. It was recently updated. It's really, really useful when you are trying to get an idea of inventory in certain places. You can check what the bounties are at the bounty board without even being in the game. You log in with your console of choice, whatever it might be. I'm PSN, so I play this on PS4. So if you log in with my PSN account, it syncs up to everything. You can also read the Grimoire on here, so you don't need to go to Bungie.net. You can pull up the Grimoire right on the app and do it from there. I did this a lot when I was farming the gunsmith to try and get a rare level or a top level blue sniper rifle. Because I love using sniper rifles in PvE, but I wanted something a little better than the green that I had. So all I would do is I'd log onto the gunsmith, and I'd check his inventory every few hours, and when I saw one morning that he had a sniper rifle available, I logged in, bought it, good to go. I can see what the Cryptarch may have, if anything of interest, and again, like I said, I can check the bounties. So that's really useful. No world event going on right now. You know, Iron Banner has ended. We talked about Iron Banner last episode, so I'm not going to bore or chew your ear off with that in this episode. But no event right now. What do you guys want to see? I'm hoping to get a little more PvE event, something like that again. But I have been enjoying PvP a lot, really a lot. Like, I didn't think I was going to play PvP at all, but I've been just playing a ton of Clash games, which is my favorite. I love playing Clash. You know, I don't mind Control. Control's okay. But I love Clash. Just kill everything. You know, that's my goal. I love doing that. But I've really been enjoying it. And it makes me kind of sad. I wish I had participated in the Iron Banner event. You know, my gear wasn't top notch, but knowing what I know now, it probably wouldn't have mattered that much. But either way, I missed out. So I'm just going to try and rack up my Crucible marks and kind of go from there. So, there was one thing I didn't mention in the patch notes from the hotfix that I did want to talk about, which I think has a little more ramifications than what it actually is. So if you go to the original loot cave on the Cosmodrome on Earth, you'll find that there is a pile of bodies, charred remains there. And if you... It gives you a prompt to activate like a command on them, you know, the same like hit square to open up a chest or whatever. I say square because again I'm on PSN. They have added basically a spooky little message that you can hear there. What happens is if you trigger it, a message will come up saying 1,000,000 deaths are not enough for Master Rahul. Master Rahul, of course, being the Cryptarch, and the message behind that, of course, being that was the original spot where end-level players would just shoot into a cave, killing things and farming engrams. And I think that's pretty funny. But that, in and of itself, is a pretty minor, meaningless sort of thing on its own. But it means something more, if you think about it. The sheer fact that Bungie has added this new element to the game solely based off of what players did beyond the game itself is a really, really good sign. Because if you play MMOs, especially, and I keep doing this because it's the only real comparison that I can, you know, talk about that makes sense to me, is World of Warcraft. If you've played World of Warcraft, you know that game is full of changes and additions and things that Blizzard has done either due to community response or just to things in the world. The most recent case being, of course, the addition of a genie character named Robin, you know, to honor Robin Williams. But a little thing like this is the kind of thing that I was hoping to start seeing in Destiny. Because I want Destiny to start feeling a little more like World of Warcraft in the sense of it's an MMO that evolves not just in the natural sense of adding more content and adding more levels and things like that, but also evolves in the sense of adding things that maybe change or tweak the world because of what the players have done. That we have shaped the world that we play in. And I know this is not a minor earth-shattering event to have, you know, a stack of remains in the cave, but it does mean that Destiny, that Bungie, is paying attention. And yeah, I know they keep taking away loot caves, but for justifiable reasons. It's not something that they intend to have in the game, obviously. You know, if you thought that they would leave a loot cave in the game once you know about it, you're foolish. But what this really means, again, is that it's a good sign. So now we can start seeing more from Bungie in the sense of like what we do in the game starts to have an impact on how Bungie adds content. We might see more than just this as the game continues to develop. I'm sure the next part, the next major chapter in the Destiny story is well underway. And I'm not talking about DLC add-ons. I'm not talking about anything referring to Destiny 1, mainly referring to the next major chapter. I don't know if that's going to be a whole new game in Destiny 2 several years now from now, or what. I really don't know how this is going to play out. My understanding is that we're getting the DLC that we know of, the expansions that we know of, added to this game. Those are going to run its course, and then a sequel is going to come out, like the next part of the chapter, and that's going to keep happening throughout this 10-year plan that Bungie has said that they have for Destiny. So, with that in mind, I'm hoping that we start to see this game evolve in such a way that what we do as players in the game, and how we play the game, and how we interact with the world, starts to have an impact on the game itself. Little ways, big ways, I don't know. But just different ways that, we can really start to see that. And I like that. I like that sign that we saw. Just this simple little addition of throwing a pile of bodies in the loot cave and recording this new message for the Cryptarch. I think it means a lot. I think it has a lot of weight to, hopefully, what it'll mean kind of in the future. So that's really all I wanted to say about that. Ooh. If focus would be good. Alright, there we go. But in any event, I'm going to wrap it up here. We are going to be back again, hopefully sometime soon, to talk more Destiny as changes keep happening and new stuff keeps happening. What would you like to hear on future episodes of the Engram? Let me know, and we will talk. Alright, you can find me again on Twitter, Facebook, you know where, at GKickShalthis on Twitter, just Shalthis on Facebook. The link's in the description on both GKick and on YouTube. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. I will see you all next time. Happy hunting, Guardians.